Welcome to the stream, except this is not a stream. This is a video, but it looks like a stream because we are live right now. I'm here with ToyBountyHunters. How's it going, man?
It's going good, brother. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So we are live right now, but you're watching the video, and that's okay because the video is cool, and we still got chat here, so it's almost like you are live. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to talk about Vic Mignogna and how he handles his convention appearances. So vastly different than so many other voice actors do at their appearances. We don't want to throw shade at all the VAs because there's a lot of good voice actors out there. So it's not like we're throwing shade at all of them. You know, some of them are quite scummy, certain Funimation VAs maybe. So it's not really about that. More so it's about just how much Vic cares about the fans. And it shows in his appearances. And I have an idea as to why. Let me run it by you and see what you have to think about this.
What?
Vic gets a lot of messages from people that care about him and his work, right?
Yep.
So I think on top of that, plus just Vic being the way he is, he understands that the roles he plays in anime, some of these characters really do affect people's lives. So it's not like Vic is just doing his work where he's at the table or something and getting things signed. And, you know, it's all nice to meet them. No, he knows he's also representing the characters he plays, and he takes immense pride in that. As we've seen, for example, in the deposition where he said it was an honor to play Broly, and he was even, like, tearing up about it. But what I'm getting at is this, especially him being Edward Elric. He's received a lot of emails from people that have gone through traumatic events, people that have, are missing limbs and things like that. And he gets a lot of emails where people reach out and say how much he has helped them get over things. And a lot of that is attributed to Vic overall. But a lot of that I do think is also from his role as Ed. So I think because of all that, just Vic being the way he is and all of the above, he really takes it personal. Sorry, I know it was kind of a long-winded thing. What do you think that's kind of a good take? Do you think it might be?
No, I think you're onto something there. I mean, there's obviously he realizes that the roles that he plays, even though it's just him doing the voice for them, is to him, you know, he's performing something, right? And he realizes that a performance can touch a person. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Regardless of, again, what they're going through, that they can relate to a situation by just hearing what that character might be going through, and the way that he is bringing that to life in the character, or the way he's the way that it is presented, you know, however, which, you know, just the way he's performing it, you know, can strike a chord with somebody, right? Mm-hmm. Regardless of whatever situation that person might be in. I mean, it might be a situation they could relate to, or they know somebody that can, or whatever, you know. I mean, it's for him, it's performing and being able to do something that connects with people.
Yeah.
And like he was saying earlier on, again, you know, it's about not being so impersonal. And I know there's a lot of people that'll probably look at that clip and they're going to twist it, and they're going to be like, hey, he's just trying to justify being able to touch people and stuff like that. And that's not what he's saying at all. If that's the takeaway that people get from it, nothing could be further from the truth. I think it's pretty clear the point that he's making. It's that, hey, listen, you know, I understand, because I'm also a human being, you know, that has feelings, that people go through some stuff. And if what I did made an impact in your life today for the better, I want you to know that it was meant with good intent, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I meant it, you know, when I performed that, you know, and I mean it now that you've taken time out of your busy schedule to come see me, that I want you to know I appreciate that. I appreciate you recognizing my work and following my work, and taking the time to come see me after I did this work. So the best way for him to reciprocate that is by him being himself.
Yeah, man, exactly. And I'm so glad that he is sticking true to himself and sticking true to really the people he cares about, the fans, because he isn't just, you know, he didn't just sit back and let this happen. As much as that may have been what he wanted to do at first. Maybe it wasn't what he really wanted to do, but, you know, it was such a difficult thing to fight back against it. But here we are. Tanya with the dono. Thank you, Tanya. Also, thank you, chat. Tug Live. We'll go rate him in a little bit here. Tanya says, does Vic know how offensive it is to not only reference, but make fun of people with invisible disabilities? Sean Schemmel, Ding Dong, Monica Rial, Chris Savant. Did they claim some stuff like that? I don't even know. Those people nowadays, man. I don't even know. Do you know what that's about, Toy Bounty?
I mean, I honestly don't know, but what I'll say is this. I mean, for anybody that goes to meet any guest, right, at a show, whether it be a VA that they like or an actual TV actor or maybe even a movie actor, think about, I would say this, think about this for a moment. What are you going to remember more? An interaction like that, like what he was explaining with that fan that he had there? Or are you just going to remember some guy just, shaking your hand while somebody else rushed you through the line? You know what I'm saying? What experience are you going to really, hold more appreciation?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And tying that into what I was saying yesterday in yesterday's upload, I don't think, and this is just a theory, I don't have data behind this, but I don't think other voice actors get as many routine people as Vic does. Like, a lot of people will meet Vic once and they can't wait to see him again, and that they realistically might not be able to for financial reasons, time constraints, both, whatever reasons. But they really do try a lot of the time to go meet Vic again at some point, whether it's later that year, the next year, in the next 5 years. They want to see him again, though, and that seems like a pretty recurring theme with a lot of people that meet Vic, because they'll say, Vic meets a lot of people. Some of them he remembers, not all of them he does. Totally understandable. He meets a lot of people. But you do see something very often in these lines with Vic. You get people that do say, like, yeah, I saw you over there, or it's good to see you again, or last time you liked my cosplay, or something like that. They always seem to, not always, let me take that back. A lot of the time, though, people will reference prior events where they did see Vic. And I think that alone is pretty telling, man, that these people don't just want his signature on their merch. They want more than that. They want to have that experience to talk to Vic, even if it's just for 5 minutes or so in line. When you get in the line, but they're willing to go that far to meet him for a reason. Yeah,
if the person is more personable, the chances are you're gonna have a more personal experience with them. And the thing is, again, people will always remember that. They'll always take that with them when you took the time to just say more than a hi and a bye. You know what I mean? When you took the time to, at least for them in that one moment, whether it be 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, that you took the time to take an actual interest in them, they remember that. And that's why I think you see a lot of people, they always come back to him, even people that have already gotten his autograph before. And let me just say, that's the sign of a good guest at a show.
Oh yeah.
And why a guest will get invited back to a lot of shows.
Just for the record, I'm saying, oh yeah, but he really does have weight, because he works he has connections with cons, he works on cons and all that stuff.
And that's a sign of a good guest. I've seen it firsthand, and that's why a lot of times guests will get invited to a show, even if some guests get invited back every year because of stuff like that, because of the experience that the fans have with them. Especially if it's a very positive one, they become popular.
With Vic being so torn up over losing these roles, it's not just that they took the dude's livelihood, which they did. He needs those roles to live. Some people will say Vic has a good amount of money. I say, for a dude that is around, middle age, he still has a long way to go. And I don't think he was prepared to retire just yet. Obviously, he had plenty of cons left. He would still have jobs. He didn't plan on retiring yet. He might be alive for another 40 years or so. He needs to keep working. But what I'm getting at is, it's not just that he lost that, which is detrimental in and of itself. He also lost the opportunity to be those characters for the people he knows cares about those characters and care about him being those characters too. So it's really financially and emotionally horrible what happened to him. Stuke says, I tend to notice with VAs recently, or a trend, I think that's what it should say. A trend I noticed with VAs recently, but not since the Vic situation, is that they love to lecture from a soapbox, especially since 2016, on their social media, not just at conventions like before. I've been noticing that too. With a lot of those people on Twitter, kind of like what we were talking about earlier in the stream, with the people that just love to retweet things. And, I don't want to get into all that for the video, but okay, I've been talking a lot, Bounty. What do you think about those two, or all the above?
About the stuff that they tweet about, or you mean the video we just watched?
Yeah, more so about, I guess, like other VAs kind of just treating it like they see them as dollar signs, the fans, and what those donos kind of said and what we're talking about, and then we'll kind of wrap it up.
Well, the interesting thing about that is, right, they they're voice actors, and they are people that have some kind of, you know, renown that people come to see. So I guess they feel because they're in some, and maybe in their minds, I guess in some, they're in some position of influence to I guess a certain extent. They feel that they should be, proselytizing, or maybe the better word would be lecturing people on what is right and what is wrong. But the thing is, nobody cares.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, like, yeah, in my mind, like, that's so funny, man. What you're saying.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, you got some VAs that are using their influence to try to talk to people about things that are, you know, they're talking about things that they find are important to make themselves look good. Like, they like to virtue signal. They bring issues to the table about things that they think make them look good. Vic, you look at what Vic does, and I know you're kind of agreeing with me here. I think I heard you say, like, yeah, right?
Yeah, I think Vic makes it about the people that come to see him.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, he's not making it about what is what is right or wrong with this way of thinking or that way of thinking. He's just worried about how he's how the individual that's right there in front of him is doing, and how that affects them. He wants that's it.
A lot of them care only about themselves, and if they are out there with their fans, they use their influence to try to force their political views or something on their fans. Like, what are you guys doing? Vic is out there genuinely connecting with people and showing that he cares about them, and it's great. Isn't it a shame, man, that what's going on here is these people are trying to make Vic look bad. What should be going on here is they should be looking at Vic and taking notes. That's what should be going on.
Well, they care more about people believing what they say, or they care more about people just believing basically, again, allegations or opinions than they do about, actual, I would say in this case, certain individuals. I mean, because people talk about, well, what about the victims and believing the victims and stuff like that? What about their feelings and stuff like that? Okay. I understand that, and that's fine if people want to feel that way. That's true. I mean, sure, but at the same time, but what about burning a person's life down without really any kind of what I would say really substantial evidence? I mean, I haven't seen any people keep going back.
Well, you can't ask for evidence, because then you're shaming them, and you can't.
Apparently, yeah. I mean, and the hell with due process. So
all right, let's wrap this up. Let me see if Tug's live here.